Welcome to the Business Leadership Series, where we engage with leaders who are making an impact on their worlds and who want to share their knowledge and experience for your personal and professional growth. The following interview is designed to inspire you to become the best leader you can be. Your host, Derek Champagne, is the founder and CEO of The Artist Evolution, a full-service agency building successful brands, marketing tools, and campaigns, and also the author of the best-selling book, Don't Buy a Duck. And now, let's begin today's Leadership Series interview.
Welcome to the Business Leadership Series, where our goal is to inspire you to become the best leader that you can be. I'm your host, Derek Champagne. We have Joe Saumweber with us today. He is the co-founder and CEO of RevUnit. Joe, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Derek. Great to be here.
You've done some pretty amazing things. You're in Las Vegas, Dallas, St. Louis, and Bentonville.
Correct.
So far.
Yep, so far.
And clients include Walmart, Virgin, School of Rock, AutoZone, and then a bunch of other crazy and cool startups that we'll have maybe yet to hear of, but we'll be hearing from soon. So tell me a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey. Tell me a little bit about just some highlights from where you started out and then where you are today.
Yeah, I think I've always known I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I think like many entrepreneurs, we have to take some time and learn from other people too. And so I've also worked for other companies and had great experiences. As far as, the RevUnit story and how we got to be where we are, I think we looked around and saw that there were a lot of people in the digital marketing space that were wanting to build digital products, mobile applications and, websites with a lot of functionality. And frankly, the tooling is just different. The type of people you hire are different. The processes are different. And so when we decided to build RevUnit, my co-founder and I, Michael Palladino, it was an effort to build a digital product development team from the ground up, from the very start. And it's been going quite well. Oh. We're 4 years into that journey now, and it's been a lot of fun.
When did you realize that you were onto something big? That moment where you said, I think this is about to be really take off.
That's a good question. I think we knew from the very beginning that the market was going to go this direction, that marketing was very, very important. However, people build relationships with products. You think about the apps on your phone. There are apps on your phone that you cannot live without. You've built a relationship with that company and that functionality over time. And that's really what we wanted to do and represent. So I think we knew from the beginning that there was a huge opportunity here. The question was whether or not we were going to be able to capture that. And just over the last really year and a half, I would say we've gotten to a place where we knew we were onto something. A lot of that was the team that we built around us. From day one, we've always said we measure our progress by the caliber of talent we're able to attract to our cause. And it's been really fun to watch the RevUnit team grow. And the last couple of years has just been fantastic.
So how do you build a team?
Yeah. We spend a lot of time on that. And for us, a big part of building a team is defining values. And until you define your purpose as a company and your values as a company, I think it's really hard to know who the right fit is. Now that those things are defined, and they have been for the last couple of years, we find that our hiring efforts go much smoother. We also involve our team very heavily. We like to say that, we as co-founders, we don't hire and we don't fire. The team does all of that. We merely screen people, and then we let our team decide who they want to invite into the trenches with them, because they're the ones responsible for training and onboarding and all of those things, and we want them to have a lot of buy-in to that decision.
Okay. So how do you create an intentional culture within your organization?
It takes a lot of practice and effort, and I don't know if that's something that came naturally to Michael and I early on. We like to work, and I think we knew in our mind what our values felt like, but we hadn't put them into words yet. But that process of sitting down on the whiteboards, we have an advisor, Doug Dane. He's the ex-chief merchant over at Walmart, and very purpose-driven guy, and he helped us discover that. He came in and he did a session with our entire team, and really forced us to think intentionally about our values. It took us a couple of days, but we eventually got there through blood, sweat, and tears. And those have really come to represent everything we want RevUnit to be. And we refer back to them often, and we drive it through the agendas of our company and the meetings that we have. And I think most folks at RevUnit could talk pretty proficiently about our values.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So what drives you? What are you most passionate about?
For me, in my personal life, it's about having the time to live a balanced life. Yeah. And so, I have a wonderful wife who's here with me today and 5 kids, and which is a little uncommon for an entrepreneur, right? To have had that much family. We actually found out a couple of days after I quit my job to start RevUnit that we were about to have our 4th kid. And so the pressure was on to get this thing right.
That'll help on it.
Yeah.
That's a good motivation.
Yeah, that was a big motivation. So, food, shelter, those things motivate me quite a lot.
Yes.
But no, a balanced life is important to me. And so being able to get into a situation with work where I can spend time with family, spend time on church activities is really important. As far as business goes, we're extremely motivated in providing a place where people love to be. We really believe that we are in the talent economy, meaning that the only real competition is the competition for talent. And so creating an environment where people love to be, a place where people feel like you've got their back and they've got yours. Right. That sense of community. We believe great teams are made up of people who won't let each other fail, and I think that's the atmosphere we try to create at RevUnit, and that drives us. We guard that pretty jealously.
So how do you find balance? I mean, you've got 5 kids, and obviously it helps because you're here with him right now. But how do you do that? I mean, it's easier said than done. I've heard some say that it's not possible to have a balance. You pick one or the other, or there's other consultants that say, here's some ways of doing it. But what have you found? How do you find some kind of balance?
Yeah, I don't, there are a lot of entrepreneurs that say, listen, you've got to work at this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I guess I don't really buy into that. Not that you don't have to work hard and make sacrifices, because you do, and we have. But I think it comes back to what brings you joy and happiness in life, because if you're not happy and you're not finding joy, it's really hard to be effective. And for me, that's balance, right? So there are people, I think, who can go heads down all day, every day. But I find I'm not very productive that way. And so I've got to make room for it. Yeah,
that's great. That refreshing for you makes you just better at all of the things that you do.
Yeah, and I think that's important for people who are thinking about entrepreneurship to understand is entrepreneurs come in all shapes and sizes and all different phases of life. And there's not one mold that makes it successful. You have to surround yourself with smart people, hire people that are way smarter than you are, find good advisors, find an excellent co-founder. I like to say I'm blessed with 2 great marriages, one to my wife and another one to my co-founder. In a lot of ways, it's kind of sad to say that, but in reality, we spend a lot of time together.
Sure.
And we've been working together for 7-8 years now, and at RevUnit for 4. And we just make decisions really well. We argue really well. All the things that are important to success.
So tell me about, from your entrepreneurial journey, did you have other businesses you've done in the past as well? So kind of give me a few highlights on those. You have to tell me the businesses, but just what was that like for you?
It's not a lot, but like most entrepreneurs, I have done other things and have learned, on my own dime as well as on other people's dimes. We like to call that expensive tuition. When we were in college, I started my first business, which was virtual tours. And so we would go and do photography, and I learned how to be a photographer. And we'd stitch together these 360 virtual tours where you could kind of look around online and check places out. We did a lot of student housing and commercial facilities. And that was 06. 08 happened, and marketing budgets got slashed, and things started to fall apart there. And I think I was too young and naive at that point in time to understand that I was in a really commoditized business, and I didn't have much of a differentiating advantage. And so you live and you learn, though, and that experience really provided me an opportunity and the experience I needed to go and get my next job, which taught me a lot and prepared me for what I'm doing now.
Yeah. Okay. Have you always been that mindset of learning as much as you can to?
Yeah, I think for myself and most people that work with us, actually, learning is our greatest currency. Yeah. If we can have experiences that teach us new things and give us new opportunities, then that gives you a reason to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, great. So how do you deal with setbacks, failure, setbacks, challenges? What's your approach to it?
Get mad quickly and get over it. Right? I mean, we all get angry, we get frustrated and get down. The question is, how quickly can you pull yourself out of that? Some of that is just having people to talk to, people to commiserate with. Mary's been fantastic and helps me get through those times. I remember specifically in the early days of RevUnit, we had spent, we were 4 or 5 months into RevUnit, and we got a couple of big clients, and relatively big at that point in time, and we were still 4 or 5 people at that point, and it was all hands on deck to get these projects done, and so we spent a lot of time working them, so much time in the business that we weren't working on the business, and we stopped looking for new business, and we finished those 2 projects, and we pulled our heads up out of the weeds only to discover that there was nothing to come in behind it.
Great job, good case studies. Now where's the clients?
So excited. Oh crap. And so that was a really hard lesson. I mean, a really, really hard lesson. And it took us 6 months probably to dig out from that. And there were times there where, we weren't sure we were going to survive that experience. Again, expensive tuition.
Yeah.
But a lesson we've learned that, no matter how busy we are, we need to continue to feed the beast.
So during that, I mean, that's a big lesson. Yeah. It is a beast. And I think I've talked to my wife about that too. And she says, you're in acquisition mode. Well, if we stop being in acquisition mode,
that's right,
in the type of industry that we're in, then we're in trouble. And,
that's right.
And all of us need to and we have a family to feed, right?
Yeah.
So, but take me back in that 6 months, and we won't harp on that. But during that 6 month period, those scary, dark times. I don't want to over dramatize it.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But I've lived them in a couple different businesses. Days. How do you day by day know? What was your mindset then, or what did you learn from it? Looking back on, man, if I had understood now that was a 6 month period and it was just a learning experience, and was there anything that you took from that you can share with us that was from the dark times, the small moments? Someone listening might be going through that right now too. What's the lesson?
Yeah. It's really hard to do this, but I think you got to be really careful not to get to a point of desperation. You got to be able to walk into a room with some swagger and feel confident, that you're going to come out of it, and that what you have to offer is valuable. You ask me now if the services we offer at RevUnit are valuable, and I have no question or qualm with that. If you'd asked me at that point in time, I had a lot of self-doubt, right? Because we didn't have business to work on, and so you got to work yourself through the self-doubt. You've got to remember the good times and feel confident that they will come again, because otherwise I think you can get caught in a downward spiral that's really hard to recover from.
Right. And it affects your team around you too.
Very much
confidence. So internally as well as externally.
You bet. They can smell it on you.
Yeah, right. That's good. Walk with a little swagger. You go in a room with some swagger even when you've got some things going on.
You got to act like you don't need it, even if you do.
Yep. I think that's important to do. So tell me a little bit more about RevUnit.
Yeah, so RevUnit is, we're about 30 people now. We have very few functions in our organization. So we have creative and UX. These are people that build and design great interfaces, right? We have developers, people that build technology, both front end and back end. We have product owners whose job is, it's like one part client services, one part Scrum Master in the Agile world, right, for development, project management. And then we have product adoption strategists. And those are in the early days of RevUnit, we would have said if you build it, they will come, though we found that to not be true.
Right.
And so you need people who understand the dynamics of product adoption, growth hacking, and as well as retention. Right. And so those 4 functions really make up a product team. And RevUnit, if you think about our name, Rev means to rev an engine or to accelerate, and unit is a small core tactical team that causes that acceleration.
Right.
And so those 4 functions really are the basis of a product team, and oftentimes you might have 2, 3, 4, 5 developers on that team, but you're going to have 4 to 6 individuals that are driving growth and acceleration.
So what are proper villains?
Proper villains is how we describe the people that belong at RevUnit.
That's cool.
And those are the people essentially that live into our values. Those are the people that you trust, that when they're working hard, it makes you want to work hard. The people that will do anything for you to back you up. People that are just extremely capable at what they do. Our goal at RevUnit is to be able to close our eyes, turn around and point, and find someone who is, that can do whatever you need them to do. Right.
That's cool. Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about DTR, the School of Rock case study?
Yeah. Gosh, School of Rock was a lot of fun, and that was primarily our team out in Vegas who ran that. We've got a bunch of people that are growth minded, and it was one of those opportunities where someone asked us to do something that isn't part of our core. PPC, pay-per-click is not our core. But we looked at it and said, we think we're smart enough to figure this out. There's probably some low-hanging fruit here. And so we went from, and you're in the agency space, and so you understand, like, there's nothing better than an agency who came before you who really screwed it up. Because
when you can be a fixer or have a solution,
I mean, when really the bar is set really low for success.
Right.
But the reality is we had some really smart people on our team that tackled that problem. And through applying some what we feel is fairly standard logic, we took their cost per acquisition from, it was like $120 down to like $30.
Wow.
Which was really pretty incredible. And I think everyone would say that where they were was not sustainable, and where we've got them to is very sustainable, which is exciting. And so, particularly when you have an organization like School of Rock, which is essentially a franchise organization in a lot of ways, that has stewardship over the marketing dollars from a number of different locations out there, all of their participating locations. Those are hard-earned dollars from your individual school owners, and they want to know that those dollars are being put to good use. And so we feel a lot of pride in the fact that we've been able to make those dollars go further and convert those to leads that are impacting the businesses of hundreds of school owners all over the U.S.
I think it's really cool. Yeah. Give me just a tiny bit of the basic science behind it. Simplifying it.
Yes.
You're going from looking at having hundreds of potential landing pages down to one. How does that work?
I think there's a couple things in there that really made the difference for us. One is there were way too many keywords they were focusing on, like 100,000, and bringing that down to a really small core set that was really working hard for them. We didn't want to spend money on keywords that weren't working hard. Second was tooling. And so we're able to use some tooling that, and depending on what you're looking for, so if I'm looking for drum lessons or guitar lessons or vocal lessons, we're able to optimize the page you land on based off of what you're looking for as well as what your location is. And we're able to do that off of one page, which is pretty fantastic. The content is just dynamic, and we, depending on which ad you click on, we change up the content on the page you go to so that it matches exactly what you're looking for. We had to simplify quite a bit what content showed up there. We worked with our partners up in St. Louis, Upbrand, who did a lot of the landing page design and really did a fantastic job. And we can talk about the nitrous effect more, but that's cool. That's a big part of the success story there.
Okay, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So tell me about, you did an article with the nitrous effect, which I did want to ask you about a little bit. That's my next thing. 4 ways to unleash your retail in-store talent. Can you do a quick highlight on that for us?
Yeah, you bet. Probably 75% of the work that comes through our house right now is actually associate or employee facing and not consumer facing. We love consumer facing work and we do a great job at it, but we feel that the associate facing work is really more blue ocean for us. There are millions of frontline employees across the world whose work experience we can improve by providing beautiful, usable technology that gives them access to the information they need to do their jobs better. And we find a lot of personal mission in that at RevUnit. And so oftentimes that comes in the form of a mobile app, right? So if you think about these employees, and they may have 6 different portals they have to log into to get the information they need, whether that be health benefits or their schedule they work that week, or any number of corporate news, any number of other things. Oftentimes what we're doing is putting a tent around that circus, and we're tying into all of those systems and then pulling it together into a really beautiful, usable experience on the mobile device or on a tablet or on a desktop, whatever that may be. A lot of that work is communications focused. How do we help employees across geographic locations communicate better? A lot of it is engagement focused. Things like peer-to-peer recognition, helping people recognize the good in each other that they're working with. And a lot of that is productivity focused. How do we provide the data and information that people need to make good decisions instead of whether that be a store environment or any other environment? So there's it's interesting we went through a consumer revolution with mobile 7-8 years ago. The iPhone came out, a little before that, and then we had the App Store open, and we had this world of tooling and technology available at our fingertips that never existed before. And the enterprise is really just now catching up to that, where we're providing that same level of tooling to improve performance and communication inside of the enterprise environment.
Wow. And
we're excited to be at the heart of that.
Oh, that's very cool. So tell me about the 479 Founders Forum. I love that you're doing that. We have guests from all over the country, and I'm excited that we're having rock stars. Some of the biggest rock stars are here in Northwest Arkansas, and I don't feel like there's enough of a spotlight on that. Provo, Utah, there's the LA Tech Forum that's big right now that we've been tapping into a little bit. And but tell me more about the talent that you're finding here.
So 479 Founders Forum is really a cool group. And I don't say that just because we started it, but I think one of the measures of any great entrepreneurial city is the connectivity between the entrepreneurs and founders themselves.
Right.
And so 479 Founders Forum is all about that. We have 7 growth stage companies whose founders and CEOs are all in that forum. And really, we have 2 purposes. One is to coach each other to become better leaders, because sometimes it's lonely in our role as founders, and you need people you can be totally open and honest with, and who can help you through those things. And then the second was to work together to promote our region as a place for talent to come to, as well as companies like ours to come to. We feel like we have a compelling story here in Northwest Arkansas. The quality of life one can live here, especially if you're a founder with a family, is really incredible. The cost of living, one of the greatest advantages of starting a company here is that you're not paying 50% of your salary in rent, or on a mortgage. The cost of living here really is fantastic, and the resources we have available to us are incredible. And so we're working actively with Northwest Arkansas Council and other groups in the region, Startup Junkie, to make sure that we talk about the power that is here in Northwest Arkansas for startups, as well as the talent those startups need to thrive.
Yeah, that's really exciting. You mentioned the lonely road, and I kind of come from an old school of entrepreneurs where you kept your cards close. And you wanted to have it developed and successful before you let people look behind the hood. Right. And I love seeing this. It's not new. It's been going on for a long time, but I love seeing this cultivating of and the mentorship where we're right out of school. Even we had someone in here earlier that came right out of school and then is running a great company. Was it Pica Solar and the Silicone Solutions. So I love that. Tell me how important it is to have a mentorship and to have those around you that you can talk with. It's huge.
It's a big deal. I think startup life is hard. It's hard because there is no manual for success. There's no handbook, that someone can give you and say, hey, if you go do these things, you'll be successful. You could do everything right and still not make it. Right. There's a lot of people that do. You could do everything wrong and still make it. There's a lot of people that do that too. I think it's sometimes hard to pick the winners. And so, because of that, you could be doing everything right and be going through immense self-doubt because you just don't, you're not seeing the results you'd like. Mentors, I think, help you wipe the fog off the mirror a little bit and help you see yourself a little more clearly. They provide you an outside perspective that is sometimes really hard to achieve yourself. And I think a great mentor is someone who can expand your vision and help you see things in a different way than you normally would. And I've had several people I've been blessed to associate with who've done that for me. Who've really made that possible, and I look back on pivotal points, and who gave me hope maybe when there wasn't enough of that, and who slapped me around a little bit when I needed it. And that's, those are really important things for anyone in the entrepreneurial life, and I hope to be able to do more of that myself for others.
That's great. So what's next for you? What's something on your bucket list that you have yet to do? You've got a great resume. You've got a great family. What's on your bucket? It could be anything: skydiving, a mission trip. What's something you want to do that's on your list still? That's yet to come.
Ultimately, we actually just went through my Hogan assessment. We did 360s as an executive team, and it was really enlightening. And one of the things I found that I'm not sure I ever put my finger on before, but I am really motivated by service and being able to help other people, particularly those in less fortunate circumstances. And so I would love to be in a place in my life where I can dedicate more time to that. Whereas right now we're still in the thick of the hustle, you know, and
right.
Not that we don't serve, we do, but it'd be nice to have more time. And then selfishly, I would really like to sail around the world. That's a bucket list item that has been there since I was a teenager. About this?
She's giving you a look.
Yeah. She knows. She's not on board yet, but
at least this isn't the first time you're hearing it right now. Have you mapped out how you're going to do that?
No, I've talked to several people who have, and spent time crewing on a sailboat after high school, and it'd be a couple-year endeavor. It'd be awesome.
Wow.
We'll see if we get around to that.
You ready for that?
I think proximity of 7 people on a tiny little boat for a couple of years is maybe what's a little intimidating.
Yeah, that could be a little bit tight, confined space. That's great. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. Is there anything else you want to share with us, our audience of entrepreneurs or executives out there who are either about to do a startup or maybe they're afraid to pull the trigger? What advice do you have for them? What things should they consider before they either make the plunge or if they're letting fear hold them back from doing something that might be amazing?
Yeah, ask yourself, what eventually got us there was we asked ourselves how employable we were. Like if everything really went terribly, what was the worst possible scenario? We'd have a little debt and we'd have to go find jobs, and that would be hard to do after working for yourself. But if you're employable and you can go find a job, then the risk really isn't as great as maybe you might think it is. The second thing is you think, or people often say, hey, what made you take the leap? And I think anyone who's done this will tell you it's not one leap. It is leap after leap after leap. You're always doubling down and reinvesting and plowing both money and effort and time back into the business. And so just get ready for that. Know that it's going to be a while before you see the rewards of your sacrifices that you make. And then that's okay. It just makes it all the sweeter when it happens.
Yeah, that's right. And you know what? That's a great point. It's a journey. And it's not an overnight success. I mean, there are overnight success stories. There's many, but I think you have to be prepared to do a little bit of a journey.
Yep.
So if you're looking to do it real quick and cash in, you might be one of the lucky ones, but I think those that are ready for the journey kind of end up enjoying that thrill of the building of it too.
That's the exception, not the rule. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for being our guest. We look forward to keep watching the great things you're doing. And if someone wants to learn more about you, RevUnit.com.
RevUnit.com. That's how we landed there. 7-letter URL.
That's great. Thank you so much, Joe.
You've been listening to the Business Leadership Series, where we engage with leaders who are making an impact on their worlds and who want to share their knowledge and experience for your personal and professional growth. This interview was designed to inspire you to become the best leader you can be.